Peer-to-peer transportation companies like Uber and Lyft have been operating illegally since the middle of the year, so police have been citing some drivers and towing their cars. But as KVUE's Amber Downing reports, they might not be doing that much longer. Amber?
Well, Jim, Quita, as congestion increases in all parts of the city, so it seems does support for different forms of transportation, including Uber and Lyft. That's one of the reasons those two companies have become so popular, is because people are needing those types of transportations despite operating illegally. Now, City Council will look to adopt an ordinance, a temporary ordinance, that could make those companies legal.
My mom is a truck driver by trade, so driving is in my blood.
Uber driver Kate Robinson drives for a living, or at least part of it. She also runs an animal rescue shelter in Pflugerville. She knows what she's doing is illegal, but says the end justifies the means.
I know that I'm providing a good service, and I want to continue to do that.
On Thursday, City Council will take up a draft ordinance focused on making transportation networking companies like Uber and Lyft legal temporarily. So far, a TNC subcommittee has been unable to craft a more permanent ordinance that addresses safety and legal concerns.
I definitely think there's a lot of politics involved in terms of why Uber and Lyft have not been made legal in Austin.
Opponents say they aren't up to the same safety standards as taxis. Their pricing isn't transparent, often fluctuating during peak times, and they aren't required to serve people in accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The temporary ordinance City Council will consider on Thursday includes both driving and criminal background checks, vehicle inspections, and commercial insurance requirements, something drivers and both Uber and Lyft's websites say they already do.
They request a copy of your driver's license. They request a copy of your insurance. They also request copies of your vehicle to make sure that there's no body damage. You also have to do a federal background check in addition to a driving history check.
Insurance has been a concern of Uber and Lyft riders. The ordinance calls for $1 million in coverage for property or personal damage. According to these liability insurance forms from Uber and Lyft, if passengers are injured or property is damaged during a trip, they're already covered for up to $1 million. According to Austin City records, the Transportation Department has ticketed and cited 38 people driving for TNCs for operating without a chauffeur's license since the end of May. They've towed 36 of those people. Now, Councilmember Chris Riley tells me he hopes that this ordinance is in place for less than a year so they can get a more permanent one in place. Live in downtown Austin, Amber Downing, KVUE News.
All right, Amber, thank you. Lyft started operating in Austin back in May. Uber started a short time later in June.